Oscar BEVIS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. It's the morning after Miami Fight Night. I'm joined by VIDDAL Riley. First things first, how are you? You've had time to sleep and think about last night. How are we feeling?
I feel good. You know, I'm disappointed, of course. I'm a competitor, whether it's as a coach, whether it's as a fighter. Anything I do, I want to win. And we didn't get the win. But, you know, it gets like that. I've lost fights as an amateur. You know, obviously I intend to never feel that as a professional. As a coach now, I felt defeat as well, but it's adversity and it's how you deal with it. And I'm going to deal with it okay, and I'll put that energy onto Gib as well, so he deals with it.
I spoke to Gib this morning off camera, and he said to me, how do fighters deal with loss? I mean, I wouldn't know. How do you think Gib's going to deal with loss? Because most fighters will say, look, I'm fighting again, I'm going to bounce back. You know, we don't know what's next for Gib, so how do you think he's going to deal with that in the coming weeks?
Well, obviously now he ain't going to deal with it too well. I think, you know, once he gets paid and he relaxes with his friends and realizes what he actually achieved despite the result, it'll be a lot easier on him. He's got to remember he's not a professional fighter, and it's taken for granted sometimes how hard the sport is. You know, the 10-ounce gloves and the no head guards. It's a dangerous sport. We know this, and all you can do is give these guys credit for putting, like, risk in it how they did. And once he looks at it from that point of view, which will take a bit of time, he'll be okay.
I want to know a little bit about the corner last night. When did you realise, or how far into the fight did you realise? Was it the first knockdown when you thought there's a bit of trouble in?
He got hit with the right hook, and then there was kind of like a little clinch, and they separated. And then I knew where his focus was gone. After that right hook, it hit him on the temple, and we all know that's not a place to get hit, especially early in a fight, because it messes up your equilibrium. And I could see that happened with him, but that's when I knew. I tried to tell him, you know, use your jab. You know, after he got knocked down twice, it was like move, because I knew the 3 knockdown rule was in effect. I'm like move, but easier said than done. I've been in there myself, and if your equilibrium's off and I'm screaming out move, it's hard to do. So he's inexperienced, and it happens.
We never really got to see the game plan in effect. What was the game plan? We heard it was just going to be pressure, but was there anything else that we'd have seen if it went the distance?
You see in the first minute, Jake was missing a lot. You know, Gib was slipping, he was moving, he was coming forward. There wasn't enough action with the hands, which is what led to Jake being able to find his target easier, because there wasn't a distraction to keep Jake from picking his spot. But in terms of the forward pressure, the head movement, the level, I was really happy with how Gib started out. It's just we needed more action with the hands to keep Jake off, but it didn't happen. Second, third, fourth round is when I was expecting the tide to kind of change. I always told him his first round would be his hardest round, you know. And I also said to him that the only way Jake can beat you is if you get caught early, and he got caught early. So.
Did you see any vulnerabilities in camp that perhaps you can tell us about now when it came to Gib taking shots? I mean, sparring isn't the same as professional fighting, but it looked like there was a couple jabs that sort of made him off balance.
He hit the nail on the head, really. Sparring, head guards, bigger gloves. He was taking all the shots fine. Never rocked, never stumbled, but that's the difference between sparring and real fights. And we've seen it with, you know, the professionals of the game, the elites of the game. They say, look, I've sparred rounds and rounds and rounds with him. And they get in there, different gloves, no head guard, bang, out. And that's why a lot of fighters that have been boxing a long time say don't take anything from sparring, because when it comes to the real day, things can change.
After the stoppage, I looked at the screens. I wanted to see sort of what was going on in the ring, you guys in the corner. I remember when JJ was victorious over Logan, you were on your knees, you were hugging, it was elation. What sort of role did you feel like you had to play then? Because you sort of had to switch off all sort of mode and almost become like a counsellor for Gib and sort of just calm him down and sort of relax him?
Due to his inexperience, it was more of an explanation of the rules. You don't have to get hurt for it to be a knockdown. You don't have to stay down for even more than 2 seconds for it to be a knockdown. You touch down any part of your body and it's contacted, it's a knockdown. So I kind of explaining that to him. When you feel like you could have continued and the referee stops the fight, it's one of those painful things. And he had to go through that yesterday, but it's more explaining to him, listen, that's the rules of the sport, and it's unfortunate, but we have to move on and just be proud of yourself for what you've done today.
Just finally, what was going through your mind when KSI got in the ring? I can imagine you was just like, please, not again, I can't do this again.
Yeah, it was, you know, for me, when I started coaching, it was enjoyable. It was something that I really wanted to be a part of and put my heart and soul into, and I still did for this camp, but I also know now that my time for coaching is over, and for KSI, he achieved what he wanted to from the boxing match. It was never to be a professional fighter and have a extended record. It was to get more exposure so he could dive deeper into music. And since the fight, he's already had, you know, the Rick Ross Little Baby song. He got a new song come out today. It's charting top 10, and that's what he wanted to achieve. Jake has everything to gain from fighting KSI. KSI has nothing to gain from fighting Jake. And as I said, when you're at the top, the only way is down. The only way to stay at the top is to leave and walk away. So we had that conversation, and he's in such a great place. Jake needs him, and in that position, unless you're getting offered something extraordinary, no point.
Vidal, commiserations on last night, but congratulations on the journey.
Thank you.
And I'm sure I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate all the interviews as well. And Gib will live his life, and he'll be a happy man, and I'll continue my career and be world champion one day.
Gold Star Promotions is proud to present Floyd Money Mayweather. The man himself is coming to the UK for his UK tour, February and March 2020. For all info and tickets, goldstarpromotions.co.uk.